Hi, I'm Larry Kortkamp, and this is Pointz TV, the show that introduces you to new and trending business topics, smart technologies, and the people that impact our small business communities. Today, we're talking with a man with a remarkable story, and he's going to share some of that with us a little later. His name is Houston Gass. He's currently a sergeant with the Jacksboro Police Department. Houston, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you.
Create a stronger and more dynamic business. Larry Kortkamp, founding partner at the Kortkamp Group, talks with industry insiders about trending topics moving the needle, or not, for local business today. Here's your host, Larry Kortkamp.
The reason you're here today, we're talking about, obviously you're with the police department. We've got a lot of tension in our society currently, yes, heightened anxiety, a lot of issues that are facing us as a society. And you're representing today maybe something that can help with that. It's the Emergency Operations Proving Grounds. It's a training facility, an elite training facility located right there in Jacksboro to train first responders, police officers, fire, and so on.
Yes, sir.
Can you share a little bit about what that is with us today?
Well, the Emergency Operations Proving Grounds was created a few years ago because of the onslaught of school shootings that was taking place. But then it's also since grown to a point to where we're also including other responders in that because so oftentimes we get into those situations and the other responders need to know exactly how the police are going to operate, and who knows, at some point in time they may even have to step in, especially in a live fire situation. You just never know what could happen. And they need to know how to protect themselves and go through the proper kind of training.
You have some pretty elite training officers that help in that situation, training at this facility as well, correct? And it's not just a regional training facility. You're actually getting in teams and things from all over the country.
Yes, sir.
That'll do that for you.
Yes, sir.
One thing that inspired me was actually what you just touched on. It was the idea that we're training combined efforts, so that we're taking not only the police, but we're also taking our fire departments, our emergency responders. You're even including some of our dispatchers in this training as well, and instructing them through both classroom and live fire, or not live fire, but situational training, to teach them how to work together on how to respond to certain things. Is that right?
Yes, sir. The most important thing that we can do in any of these situations is stay calm. I know that sounds really opposite of what you would think that situation needs, because it is very chaotic, but calmness is the only way that we're going to get through and maintain our safety and the safety of everybody else. Because if we're not the cool kid in the room right there, everybody else seems to panic, and panic leads to more distress, and more distress leads to more injuries.
Which is why you actually focus on a couple of different areas. Some is pre-event training, what you do, how do you pre-prepare for an event? And then another one is actually what is occurring during the event is going on. And then even some after-event situations. So what would go into, say, a pre-training? We can envision what that might be, but
we have to get each individual person's mind set that they're going to be the ones victorious in this situation. Okay, because if you go in with a losing mindset, you're going to lose. Period. It doesn't matter. In our situation with what we do, we deal with true life or death matters. And if you go in there and you've already pictured yourself being defeated, that's exactly what's going to happen. We're trying to program your mind to know that you are going to come out a winner. You are going to come out victorious. You're going to be the man on top, because otherwise you die.
As far as during an event, obviously, then we've got different types of service personnel that are on site. So we've got maybe a police officer, possibly even a SWAT team, but then we also have our emergency responders, our fire department, our EMTs. Trying to get all those people to be on a cohesive team, that's got to be quite the challenge.
It can be, especially you've got so many different disciplines that each of these people have studied through their lives. You know, you've got your medics. They know how to treat you medically. You've got your firemen. They know how to put out a fire, and they know how to help the medics out. The one thing though that we noticed a few years ago is the serious lack of training that was going on between all those disciplines, because these guys, you know, it's like I told you, you know, we all practice different things. Now has come to the point in time where we've got to bring all that together for the purpose of one goal, and getting our kids out alive, whether it's a school shooting or a church shooting, or even just protecting your own family and your own business from whatever could happen.
And obviously, we're being faced with a lot of different unique situations today. And a lot of conversation centers on how to handle these unique situations where it might be either armed or unarmed people involved in an altercation, or what seem to be unarmed, but arming may be a different description or different definition depending on what that is. It might not be a firearm, but it might be another type of weapon or instrument that could cause harm to another. And they talk about de-escalation training, right? And how to assess a situation and try and how to calm the situation down. Is that part of the training that goes on at this type of facility?
Yes, it is. We try to put on the whole scenario of things that could happen. You know, obviously it's not complete reality, because situations are fluid and they always change. You know, we try to make sure that we keep our officers calm and our responders calm, because whenever they're calm, they can talk more effectively and clearly with our suspects that are wreaking havoc on our citizens.
Now, this is this company that does this entity. It's actually a C3 or a nonprofit organization that is managing this facility. That's very interesting. So it's not something that's sponsored by a local police department or a government entity. How did that come about?
Well, a lot of it came about because of, it's like I said, you know, the training that was lacking. And you know, one of the things that I don't want us to forget about too is our first responders, our emergency responders, can also be our school teachers. And whenever that's really kind of how it came about right there, was with school teachers needing to know how to defend our children. And whenever we started putting all of this together, we noticed that there was a severe lack of training in that area that would only benefit the schools, the teachers, our kids, and us.
So at the facility itself, you obviously go through situational events, training what that happens, but then you also focus on what we traditionally think of as training, which is firearms training. And do you have a firearms course or something that they would go through? Yes,
sir, we sure do. It involves using pistols and long guns, whether it be a shotgun or a rifle. You know, we go through simunition training to kind of give an idea to somebody what it's going to be like to be shot and how they can continue to fight.
Interesting. How do you simulate that?
You know, simunition is basically, it's a paintball loaded pistol round. And it comes out obviously not as fast as a pistol, but it will hit you and it will hurt. You know, it's a mind over matter thing. And we try to teach a little bit about that too. That way you can continue to function whenever things really do hit the fan and it starts hurting a lot.
So how does this facility get the word out about what it is as a kind of a donor-fed situation here, where people are contributing money in order for this facility to go? Do you work in cooperation with police departments or other entities around the country? How do you gain How does people gain awareness to come and see this facility?
We've got a lot of social media things that we use to outreach with. Plus, we also we send out training flyers and stuff to local police departments for them to reach out to us to be able to take advantage of the training. We use our website, and a lot of it is word of mouth.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing right there is word of mouth.
As I understand, you even this is just a facility, and you actually allow the facility to be utilized by other contractors, independent contractors. So if you have maybe a security force or something that needs to use it, or a company that might need to do their training,
Yes, sir.
they can actually come in and train at this facility as well.
Yes, sir.
Very interesting. So you're doing, you might have something that is doing a training for an office building, or a security detail or something of that nature that might occur.
Yes, sir.
Interesting.
We focus on how to clear a building and how to do it safely, how to do it quickly and as efficiently as possible, while minimizing any casualties.
Well, we in Dallas are very familiar with a scenario like that we had here several years ago, where we had a situation in an office building where we had to. So we might delve into that a little bit more in our second half of the show. We're going to take a quick break, hear a word from our sponsors, and we'll come back with Houston Gas in just a moment.
At Work Suites, get back to work your way. Business addresses, co-working, executive office suites. We really thrive on helping small businesses expand their horizons from simply working out of their home. What's really nice is we're flexible with our terms. We don't require you to sign a lease with us, go month to month, or stay a couple years. You may only need a part-time space. You'll have a full kitchen, covered garage access. This is the ideal way to work through the transition in your business and get you up to speed quickly. Private offices have dedicated Wi-Fi, furniture, 24/7 access. Call 888-445-9675 and check us out at worksuites.com to schedule your tour. You're going to love it here. 888-445-9675.
Hi, welcome back. We've been talking with Houston Gass, Sergeant with the Jacksboro Police Department. We've also been going over the Emergency Operations Proving Grounds, a training facility that we have here in North Texas. It's helping to train our first responders in occupational hazard situations, what to do in a live fire situation, and how to work together with the other responders on site. When we left, Houston and I were just talking about several years ago here in Houston, we had a situation where we had a live fire incident in an office building downtown. And getting these other types of individuals to participate in this training, in this case, it might have been building security, to be able to operate together as a unit where we have police, we've got fire, we've got emergency, we've got the building security, all trying to take care of a particular scene. That's a unique way to approach this situation.
Yes. Unity is what we teach more than anything else, because without a unified front going and knowing exactly what the mission is, it's going to be next to impossible to complete it if not everybody's on the same page.
And we haven't talked about it yet, but you're uniquely qualified to talk about something like that, Houston.
Yes, sir.
Back in 2015, you had a personal story that I really would like a lot of our audience to share. And if you wouldn't mind giving us a little background on you and your career.
Okay, well, I've been a police officer since 2002, but I started my career with the Texas prison system in 1999. But probably most uniquely in 2015, January 6th to be exact, I responded to a domestic disturbance where shots had already been fired. And whenever we decided to make entry into the house looking for the suspect to get his girlfriend out, searching through the house, the man decided to fire a shotgun through a door and struck me in the face.
It's heartbreaking.
It is.
So you actually were in a live fire situation that we've been talking about with this training facility. Suddenly now you're a wounded officer on site. The situation is still ongoing.
Yes, sir.
Suspect is still there. And now you have emergency crews coming in to help you in this situation.
Yeah, thankfully we had a lot of brave guys that were willing to just put their own personal safety aside to come rescue somebody whom they work with all the time. I know we give firemen all kinds of hard times, and talk about the sleepovers that they like to have and calling them hose draggers and whatnot. But I'm going to tell you, when it comes right down to it, we are a unified front. We have to be. Those guys are willing to come in and do anything they can to help their brother out. And in turn, we want to give them the training that they need to come help us. Those firemen that helped rescue me out of that house that day put their own personal safety aside. They had no safety equipment whatsoever other than their fancy fire truck and a backboard. They went in anyway. They came.
From a personal standpoint, your story begins there, and your road to recovery. Tell us a little bit about that. How did you handle that situation? I know it's a very traumatic injury for you.
Well, I'm going to tell you, just like any situation, it's one day at a time. Sometimes it's even 1 minute at a time, because you just don't know how you're going to react in that situation. Thankfully, I had a great support system of people around me that were able to help me through that, through 21 surgeries in 27 months to fix everything, from facial reconstruction. I had to have my neck completely reconstructed, the way everything twisted the spine around, and from cosmetically getting new teeth and things of that nature, because a shotgun can do some pretty nasty damage.
And you were, as I understand, a newlywed at the time?
Yes, sir. Me and my wife had only been married 6 months.
Wow. And still married?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But that put a strain on your new marriage?
It did, but in a lot of ways, it also made it stronger too. She was not a stranger to sudden tragic things happening. Unfortunately.
Did you have any kids?
Yes, sir. We've got 3 kids between us.
How did the kids handle that? That was traumatic to see Dad.
Oh, exactly. My kids were 3, 4, and 7 at the time. But amazing. They handled it quite well. I mean, as good as you can. I mean, they handled it 1 minute at a time, and of course, we were always very careful as to what we exposed them to and things of that nature. We didn't allow them to see the full wound or anything like that, with the bandage off or anything. We were always very careful with that because we just didn't want to scare them.
And obviously, from your own personal experience, wounded first responders is very near to you, and you're very involved in that type of service for us. What are some of the key points that you would like our audience to know about?
One of the first things, man, that we need to realize, man, is these first responders that are seriously injured in the line of duty are human beings just like you. They need to be recognized for the sacrifice that they make, just like our military makes. A lot of these guys, they didn't serve in the military, but they decided to go serve their country through serving their communities and various other services, whether it be medic, fire, police, all of the above. So they deserve the recognition, because a lot of times whenever these serious situations happen, these guys end up feeling like they're alone in the world, and there's nobody else that can even contemplate what they're going through.
And just like military, obviously there's different types of injuries. Obviously yours is a physical injury that's very apparent to people that you meet, but many injuries aren't that noticeable to people.
You're correct. A lot of the injuries that you talk about, man, that cannot be seen are psychological injuries. through the years, we see a lot of things that 99% of other people will never see. We see evils and deal with things that a lot of people just want to pretend doesn't exist because they get to live in this little bubble that's safe and secure. But the reason why that is safe and secure is because you've got men that are out there, or women that are willing to put themselves at risk to keep you from that.
Part of the training facility, they incorporate some of this into their training as far as how to handle wounded people on scene and what to do about that. In fact, as I understand, you've got an event that you hold, an annual event that's coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about that event?
It's called Not All Heroes Wear Capes. And what we do essentially is we bring in wounded officers, wounded first responders, medics, firemen, whatever, from around the country, and we thank them for their service. But most importantly, the biggest thing that happens there is the camaraderie amongst the people that have gone through those situations. A lot of times, it's like I said earlier, they kind of feel like that they might be alone in the world. We bring these people together, and it gives them an outlet, and it gives them a safe and secure outlet because these other people have been through the exact same situation, and it's not necessarily somebody that's from the same department or even in the same area. We might unite somebody from California and New York together, and they can talk to each other at any given time, and I believe that is the key right there to saving the lives of our first responders, because the suicide rate of our first responders is just astronomical. Last year alone, it was nearly double of what had actually been killed in the line of duty.
Very sad. So how are these recipients of these awards or this recognition, how are they chosen? Is it something that's chosen within their in departments, or are people nominated for that?
A lot of times it's through we keep up with the news. We keep up with who is out there, and we've got a network of people that helps us reach out to these wounded responders and things, and we try to help them find the mental health side of things. We try to help them get their head as clear as quickly as we possibly can to really get them on the road to recovery, because whenever you're battling something mentally, it makes the physical so much harder to actually recover from. It's amazing the power of the mind and what that will do if we can get them thinking along the lines that they're going to make it and that they can get through this, how much easier their physical recovery
it's one of
is.
the nice award shows that I'm actually a proponent of. I don't get
Right.
too excited about the Hollywood stuff anymore, but this is real people doing real important items that matter to
Yes,
the rest of us. And I know that's a summer event for you guys. Is it open to the public? Can anybody go?
Yes, sir, it is. In fact, we encourage as much of the public to come out as possible, to meet these heroes, because they do impact everybody's lives. I realize that some of the guys that we bring in are from different parts of the world, but it's somehow, some way or another, it has impacted you because it has brought on other things. We've got family members that are all around the country at any given point in time, and you never know, that guy from Florida, your family member's in Florida, and that guy just got injured trying to save your family member or something. And it's just amazing the stories that these guys have.
And you're no stranger. You've received your own notoriety and award for your obviously your challenge that you faced. One very special one, as I understand. You were 2018 or?
Yeah, 2018 Law Enforcement Today Magazine Citizen of the Year.
That's a national award. That's a very
Yeah, it is. It was a very prestigious award, and I was very honored to receive.
well, couldn't go to a better guy.
Well, for me, it's not about the awards. It's not about the recognition. It's about the saving of lives.
Right. Which is again why we're here today. Again, the name of the organization is the Emergency Operations Proving Grounds. They are a C3 or a charitable organization, and they rely specifically on your donations to make it work. Help these people do what they need to do best, which is protect all of us. This training facility and others like it are what sets them apart and makes them prepared to handle any emergency that they come up against. We know this is very important in what we do today, and it cannot be stressed any more than we are doing it today. So donate when you can, support these types of people, and support what they do. Thanks for joining us today on Biz Points, and thank you, Houston Gas, for being a part of this today.
Thank you, sir.
We look forward to
that.
seeing you next time.
Yes, sir.
You've been enjoying Biz Points with Larry Kortkamp, brought to you by the Kortkamp Group. To be a guest or request sponsorship information, contact the Kortkamp Group at 972-824-8002 today. Production and programming information requests for the OBBM network should be directed to Offbeat Business Media by calling 214-714-0495 or send your request to info@offbeatbusiness.com. BizPoints TV, podcast, and radio show are produced by Offbeat Business Media for the OBBM network. Unauthorized use of logos, audio, video, or reproduction is strictly prohibited.